Welcome back to day 106 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO and chess.com. So guys, we're up to 1489. If we get a really high rated opponent today, we could get 1500. Most likely, if we win, we do get close. This is kind of funny. You guys can't see this because it's behind my camera here, but our opponent is rated 1580, and if we win 10 ELO points, meaning we could get up to 1499 today if we win. So we're playing against Billaf61 from Canada. Let's see how our game goes. Our opponent has yet to respond here. We get this, which I'm not quite familiar with. Most likely this is the best move, but I don't quite know the setup there. Let's start off with this. And we get some kind of weird opening here, which most likely favors us, but we do have to find a way of proving so. So now maybe e4. I guess there is no reason here not to just grab the center when we're given it. Our opponent is playing a passive setup, and I guess we transposed into the perk defense here. This is honestly slightly bizarre. I've never seen this kind of an opening, but that might be a strength in and of itself. The bishop could come out here, we could come out here with a knight, could go here. Honestly, I do not quite know the differences here, but let's go here, I guess. Our opponent pushes e5, and the queen now defends this. Now there is a question here, is this our best move? Or should we develop and allow this? I think I'd like to grab this space here. Because I don't quite want to lose a center pawn here. And we have the option of getting a nice hole on the center here instead. This prevents our bishop from coming out onto this diagonal. I guess our opponent here might be quite familiar with this opening. So then I guess bringing the bishop out here seems to be decent. There is no better square, we can't go further up, so I think now we know where this bishop wants to go, so let's place it here. This bishop needs to come out at some point. This pawn is targeted, so we'll have to defend it. There is a difference here between this and this move. I think I prefer this move because we have some better options for maneuvering, I think, and it defends this, while also defending our knight here. Our opponent here is still playing quickly. At least they have done so up till this point, at least. So we're just getting our pieces out now, getting developed, grabbing space, of course. But we do have some weaknesses we need to attend to, so we don't end up losing pawns. We get pinned. And here my idea was to play this. Because if we go here and get this, if this happens, we lose a pawn. And if this happens, I think our queen is in an awkward spot. We most likely want it on this side instead, is my intuition here. So let's come here with the bishop, developing our last minor piece. We could start playing with the pawns here. Our opponent here seems to expect h3 to happen and preemptively place bishop to h5, which is a great move. We could play like this. Now this doesn't work because the queen move has prevented it. b4 might be an option. Or we could just castle. I think I lean towards castling. And then we'll play from there, is what I was going to say. But let me drop the king here for a second, because honestly, h3 might still be good, because if we castle, I was looking at this and realizing the bishop here might be forcibly traded off, which we probably don't want. We don't want to give the bishop here up if we can avoid it. So we get attacked here. Or well, there is an intention here at least, showing our opponent wants to attack us. Now this is kind of difficult to respond correctly to. We could take, let's say this is played, but I don't quite see our follow-up here. So my intuition here might just be moving the queen, but I don't think we want queenside castling either way. Most likely we castle into the attack here, but this seems annoying. Another move I'm looking at now is this, looking to play here, while also looking to trade off bishops, because this bishop is quite strong. And then we'll play from there and find some new plans perhaps, is at least my intuition. Okay, let's come up here, expecting this, but the bishop comes back. Now though, I think we have this. We might not quite have that move because of our pawn hanging here. I just realized this pawn is attacked twice. So my first thought here was f3. Then we don't have this maneuver for our knight, and this bishop gets closed off. Might not be ideal, but well, this seems a bit passive. And this kind of blocks our pawn mobility and forces our bishop to stay on that square, which might not be ideal either. So I think our opponent here is playing incredibly well so far, feeling slightly outplayed, but that's the name of the game. I'm spotting an alternative here for us though, playing this move to defend the pawn and get our queen into the game. So let's play for this and see how our opponent responds. Still, we're playing quite the close position here. Not a single piece has been traded, not a single pawn, was what I was going to say up till this point. We can't take here, of course, because of this. So we are forced to take here, maybe. Well, it was what I was going to say, but this is a move. I missed this idea. Well played to our opponent, but maybe we have this. Followed by this. I think that's how we avoid losing material. If the knight blocks, well, that's bad, it seems. So I guess the king might have to move, or well, the knight could block here though, which might be okay. And once we take here, we defend the pawn again. This is unexpected. A great move though, definitely great. But here I think we can take and get this, and there is no attack here, and we keep our pawns. We could play with a pawn structure like this on the queen side. I don't see an alternative here that prevents us, or allows us rather, to not lose material. So I think we'll come up and take here, as I mentioned. If we don't take here, we are going to lose a pawn. We don't want to be down 2 pawns. Now our opponent might be looking to castle soon. I'm not thrilled with our position, but it could have been worse, so I don't necessarily mind it. I think I'd like to castle. I'm expecting a castling response. Let's just get our king out of the center first here. I think our opponent here might have a slightly better position, although it's difficult to evaluate. So what do we do here? Do we try to force this? Might be decent. There is a weakness here that we could target. Well, we could go after the weakness. This is kind of weak. So I think we might just have more targets at least than our opponent does, but still, I'm not thrilled here. Let's say this and this. This would be hanging, and I think our opponent's pieces here might be a bit loose. And then we get our knight off of the edge of the board, where we don't quite want it to be long term. The king comes up, which was always an option here. We could take. If this is played, I guess the knight replaces this, maybe. If this is played, we could pressure like this, as long as we don't lose our piece. So, well, honestly, this remains difficult to play. I think I'd like to trade off here. Our opponent still has more than 15 minutes. The knight takes. I don't think this knight is a threat. This bishop isn't one either, I think. Now I think we can play on the queen side. So how far up do we push? Do we push this, or do we play with the rooks first? I think I'd like to get in with the rooks like this before pushing pawns, although this might be good as well. It's just I do not quite love a5 here. So maybe this, and looking to play this perhaps. I think we can expect to see this move. It is played. We Can't go here because of the bishop. b3, and I guess we're solid, but nothing more, nothing less. Well, I was going to say there might be this, but the knight is annoying, so we can't quite grab this diagonal. Is this a move? There is this, but takes and takes, and I think it looks okay. Then we could look to double our rooks on the c-file and break through. We always have this if we need to. If this rook moves, well, our opponent prevents it by playing this. So now our opponent here does not want us to break through at all. On the queen side, we could force the issue, which might be good. I think this is an okay move. Looking to play c5. We can support it with our other rook. This is quite committal though. Means we can't defend this pawn here with a pawn on b3. But hopefully this should work out. Once more, I'm getting blind here apparently. This was a bad move. Our rook is in fact pinned. So it seems here our opponent is currently a lot more tactically accurate, or at least playing better tactically than I am right now, because I'm not seeing those tactics. And our opponent is playing this quite quickly. We can't go here because of the bishop, so what I'm looking at, or what I was looking at, was this to prevent the bishop from being taken and forcing this. So if we go here, what I'm worried about is this move, allowing the bishop in with tempo. Meaning this might have to be played, which is horrendously bad, or we would have to come back. I don't see a continuation here that favors us, so we do want to avoid losing the trade, or exchange rather. Now I guess in some variations we do have this. Let's go here first. Good luck to come here in some positions. We'll have to see. We lose this pawn, which honestly I expected. This, and at least we hit the rook. We don't quite win material though. And this pawn is an eternal weakness, and now it's undefended. Can't go here. This looks good. Yeah, this is just incredibly well played by our opponent. Still, we will try to play on here. We're down 2 pawns. We have 2 isolated pawns here. This is a horrendous weakness. The rooks can get stacked. We can't ever advance the pawn. Oh, this move could be played. I missed this idea. Can we go here, induce this, and come back maybe? Might be an idea. If we're allowed to, I would love to get the bishop here. Let's say this moves and we get this, but well, our opponent pushes and we are forced back. Now there is an annoying combination I'm realizing. here and here. And our opponent just keeps on grabbing space and kind of strangling us. Well, we are getting low on time. Let's come back with the bishop. Our opponent is still above 15 minutes. We get forked. And well, this is really bad because we can't quite defend both rooks. We might lose a full rook here, which would be devastating. Or I was going to say so, but does this work? Well, then the bishop is taken. Not quite ideal. Not ideal at all. Maybe this. I guess we go here, allow this, and this doesn't work though because the bishop blocks. I'm kind of dumbfounded here because nothing seems to be working in this position. Our opponent has promptly outplayed us here. So which options do we have? This doesn't work. We have to move a rook. We can't generate a threat. But maybe moving this rook, so this is never a move with a discovery. And then this rook will be lost, but we might be able to trap the knight, I think. Let's say that like this, this and this, and we might at least get something back for the last exchange. Or for the piece, which in this case would be an exchange. This defends the knight. It's played. This is incredible play by our opponent. This might just be what we're trying to get to. 1580 here. This is a milestone in terms of rating for us. And I'm happy to see our opponent is displaying such a level here. I don't see any moves here, to be honest. I don't see a piece move that helps us. So maybe a pawn move. Moving the king at some point. But as I mentioned here, I genuinely do not see a lot of moves. The knight is... well, it's not even trapped now, I'm realizing, because... or well, it is. This is another fantastic move. Wow. We can't take once again. Our opponent is demonstrating a pin here with this, and the knight gets out. Oh wow, we don't have time. Have to play a move. 24 seconds. What can we do here? Our opponent is still above 15 minutes. It's been a while since I got crushed this badly. But it's really quite nice to see. It means we've gotten up to a rating here where we are meeting incredible opposition, which I think is quite nice, because this means we're getting to where we want to be. Still, I'm finding it difficult here to play moves. I don't see a whole lot. This looks bad. I can see moves for our opponent, I guess, but honestly I do not see a lot of moves for us. The pawn is taken. This is bad. Wow. I guess we're kind of forced to play this and trade rooks. Still the knight remains trapped because of our bishop. But well, we're down 7 points right now. I'll try to create something here. Let's start with jumping around with the knight. The rook goes here, preparing to push. Can we get more active with the bishop? If this is played, we're forced back here. It is played. Our bishop has to stay defending this to keep the knight trapped. Now the bishop is forced to stay here because otherwise our opponent promotes. Can we come here maybe? Because honestly our bishop here has to stay here and this bishop can't move because otherwise our opponent gets a queen. So I think we can only really move our knight now. Another great move. I think we're going to lose our a-pawn. 10 seconds. Can we re-maneuver maybe? Now we hit this pawn. So well, if this is played, at least we trade. But our opponent defends first. Honestly, I don't quite know here. I don't see a way forwards. Oh, lost by timeout. This was a great game by our opponent. Thanks for the game. Really well played. We lost our game today, but I think this was a nice game to lose. Our opponent played well and definitely deserved the win. Still kind of stings losing against an opponent ending the game with more than 50 minutes, but well, some people are just good at playing quickly. Let's have a look at the game review. We played with 77.3 today, and our opponent played with 84.9. So we have this kind of a position, which, well, it was all good up to this point. Apparently, as I did mention, this was decent. I didn't quite know this or what we should do here. I knew it was playable in some positions, should be okay, but I don't quite know how to handle the following positions. So instead we pushed, still had a decent position, but this was a mistake because of this. Let's see here. I guess it's just not ideal. We're forced to trade off our bishop. So if this was played, would have been better, I guess. The bishop had backwards mobility. Should have pushed here apparently. Allowed for this. Given up the bishop here. Not quite easy to see. I think this was still a decent move. This was apparently bad, of course, because of this tactic. We're pinned in two directions and can't take the pawn. So let's say we're here again, maybe this move. No, but then we drop the pawn. So I guess maybe this, or apparently this worked. How come? Or because this is a fork, which I didn't see. Didn't feel that tactically accurate today, or sharp. our opponent displayed quite great tactical play. Should have went here. But still we did manage to remain within equality at least. This was decent. But if a4, do we not just... Or here, let's have a look. Let's say we play a4. Does this not work now? Oh no, of course, because this was what defended our rook. So by moving this pawn, we lost our rook. Should have went here apparently. See, we had a lot of mistakes today. From this point, I think we are too far behind. Does this not win material? Oh, this is an idea. But still, to be honest, we're down 7 points here, so it's not ideal. We wouldn't want to trade pieces, but we were kind of forced to here. Our opponent forced our hand and showed great technique. Still, we did find some good moves here, but lost on time. And our opponent, Billa61, got the win today. Anyways, here we're still quite close to our goal. I'm quite happy with how we've been doing lately. 2 or 3 wins in a row, and we are at 1500. Let's just cross our fingers here and hope we don't get a losing streak. Anyways, here I'm quite happy to see such play from our opponent. That's going to be great learning material. Meeting greater opposition means we have better chances to improve ourselves. So well, that's our game for today, guys. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. This has been our game for today. Yeah, maybe I just did say that. Anyways, I hope to see you all tomorrow, guys. Bye bye.